What's up, everybody? We are reviewing, at least for me, the last of the Wave 2 line from the GXK line from Playmates. So of course, recently I've reviewed Energized Godzilla, Mothra, Tiamat, all that. Today we are ending it off with something that's familiar but it's also new at the same time. This is Kong with Battle Axe. Now, of course, it is not really that new. In all honesty, we have seen many Kong figures Playmates has done before, and you know, there has been an older version of Kong with Battle Axe. In all transparency, I am pretty sure this one is gonna be the least hyped. You know, I don't think everyone's gonna want to get this one. They might already have the older Kong. They might even have Beast Glove Kong and they prefer that Kong. It's like an updated version of the original Kong with Battle Axe. And I do have it, so I will compare it momentarily once we open this figure. But before we open this figure, let's take a look at the box that he's situated in. So, of course, in terms of size, this guy is going to be classified in the 6-inch category. We got Kong with Battle Axe down here with the other languages. So French here is Kong avec hache de couille. Anyone who speaks French is gonna slash me for this, but moving on, we got our render of Kong and Godzilla here. And we have our movie logos down here. And then we got the classic render and movie logo. Same thing on this side, just different languages of the product description. And his axe is situated behind the plastic right here. And then at the bottom, we have all the production stuff, which you can pause the video to read if you're one of those few people who actually cares about these things. And then here is the back. Let me read out what they have written for this Kong figure. The first sentence is English. Everything else is the same sentence in different languages. So, wielding his ancestral axe recovered from the depths of the hollow earth, the almighty Kong is ready to defend his territory from any challengers. Pretty standard description if you ask me. We got another glam shot of Kong here. And then at the bottom, we have the list of all the other figures, which I already have reviewed already. I've reviewed everything you see here by this time. So we got the Wave 1 stuff, and then we got Tiamat and Godzilla, Energized Godzilla. These are the two new stuff. But they haven't shown Mothra. Mothra is nowhere to be seen here. Let's open the box now. Or at least cut the strings that's tying up Kong and take him out. On with the review, shall we? So remember, the name of this is called Kong with Battle Axe. Now the name sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, that's because this isn't the first time. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this review, there is the older GVK version, and some of you watching this video may say, oh yeah, I remember that. In fact, some of you may say, oh yeah, I have that, or I had that. And it's this one. This was the first Kong with Battle Axe from GVK. I have not put the axe in his hands yet, actually. I will in a second, but I just want to show you that this is the concept that Playmates is going for with this figure. It's just basically another take on the original GVK version. So I think this is an excuse for Playmates to utilize the new mold that they have for Kong to recreate their old version. Because as you can see, these are two different molds. Look closely, you can really see a difference. The articulation is pretty much the same, but they have completely remade the mold for GXK's case here. So if anything, this is their way of using the new mold to make a standard Kong. Because of course, the other Kong that they've made is Kong with the Beast Glove, but there's one issue. He has the Beast Glove on him. So they need to make a Kong just as himself. Nothing on him whatsoever. And that's what I think was the thought process going into making this figure. Maybe in the Playmates office, they're like, dang, we got this new mold for Kong with, you know, the Beast Glove Kong. We want to make one that doesn't have the Beast Glove. Shoved the axe in and said, you know what? This is our new take on Kong with Battle Axe, which is not a bad thing. If you don't have this Kong, if you missed out on buying this original Battle Axe Kong back in the day, here's your second chance to get the new one. I will say, the new mold is definitely an improvement. I have praised Playmates for this new mold. I think this new mold is a significant upgrade from the old mold. Like, look how glossy the original mold looks. The gloss is just so obvious on it. It just doesn't feel the quality, you know, in terms of how it looks. Granted, it's a toy. I shouldn't be, you know, saying anything about high quality because this is ultimately a child's toy. But you can see the difference is noticeable. Anything can be better, and I think they definitely stepped it up a notch with the Kong mold in this case. We have our Beast Glove Kong here. Of course, this came out at the very beginning of this year. I reviewed this like back in February. And then this is the Kong with no Beast Glove. So, a standard Kong, no accessories on him. This is your guy. This is what you're going to get. And this is basically Playmate's way of selling just a standard Kong using the new mold. That is how I'm going to be viewing this particular figures. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Some of you are going to say, oh, you know, they're just milking it for money and it's just a cash cow. It kind of is, but it allows more options for people who want to collect these figures. Now, you can also notice that the face is different. I mean, for Battle Axe Kong, he's got the more grinning, growling face, and then Beast Glove Kong, he's got the full-on roaring face. So there is a bit of a difference. And despite it being a new mold, I did kind of notice that Battle Axe Kong is actually a little bit shorter. And yes, I've stretched the legs out all the way. It's not the most obvious difference. You won't really notice it upon first glance. But yeah, Battle Axe Kong is slightly smaller. You can see I stretched the legs all the way out already. That's as far as it can go. So yeah, and of course with this new mold, does that mean articulation has improved? Well, I've mentioned this when I reviewed all the Kongs that Playmates has made for this movie, is that despite it being a new mold, the articulation is pretty much the same. The only real improvement I've seen is, you know, in terms of the colors and just the quality, the texture of it as they're holding this figure. It's more serrated compared to the glossiness you get from the GVK Kongs, and that's been seen with Beast Glove Kong, it's been seen with the Kong from the Scar King playsets, and it's also quite evident on this particular Kong as well. And if you look at the fur, you know, it's there. You can see the rough edges on it, so that's pretty nice. I think they've nailed it with the texture, and it doesn't look glossy anymore. And I think that is where you can say that, yeah, Playmates has improved. Of course, I briefly showed you the face. You know, he's got the growling face. He's also got the scratch marks on his chest. Those are pretty much the colors you can expect. Now, playability, Playmates has been good with the articulation for Kong, but it's pretty much been the same ever since. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying you don't need to expect anything new. It's your same standard articulation. So of course you got the arms, you know, they've got multiple joints. You can move around, open, close, and then on the elbows, same thing here. You can see elbow articulation here as well. Wrist articulation, there you go. You know, see your basic standard articulation points. And then the legs, you move the thigh, which is very frigid right now. It's very strong. But you just gotta fiddle with it a little bit, and then it should warm up the joints a little bit. And then the knees have articulation as well. Of course, you cannot move the feet themselves, but you can pretty much pose quite a bit with just the thigh and the knee articulation. And then on the head, of course, you can twist the head like this. So that's been the same. Nothing has changed for articulation. That's the format, that's the template for Kong. There is more articulation on his right arm though, because of course, Beast Glove Kong had its limitations because of the Beast Glove. It kind of blocked some bits of articulation because of the Beast Glove, but because this Kong is wearing nothing, the articulation is freed back up here, so it's the same for both his arms. Very, very nice. Now, before I put the axe on his hand, let me show you the axe. Has it really changed compared to some of the previous axes? So this is the axe from GVK. I mean, you can kind of see it has changed a little bit. The blue on the blade is a little bit more blue, It's also a little bit more obvious. The GVK axe kind of looks more faded. I guess the brown's kind of taken over, you can see. Not much has changed. It's just, I feel like the colors stand out more now with the new axe here. The new version of this axe. It's more, also the texture is more obvious. You can see like the bits where the wrapping is wrapped around the blade, the dorsal blade, is more enlarged, you know, like it's enlarged to show the texture. But it is a new version of the axe. They didn't rip this from the GVK and just repackaged it. They did go through the effort of making a new print, new color. So now let's put it on. I'm actually not sure which, does it matter which hand I put it in? Yeah, well, there you go. There's your final figure of the Wave 2 line for GXK. Kong with Battle Axe. Now, in all honesty, because I have all the other Kongs, even from GVK, I didn't really care about this figure. I just bought it for the sake of completing the set and completing the video so I don't, you know, leave one out. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone who already owns a million Kongs like me. It is affordable. 15 Canadian dollars is very good for a toy like this. It's a good quality toy, but is it really anything special? Absolutely not. If you have the Beast Glove Kong, I think you're good. You don't need this Kong. Unless you want a Kong without the Beast Glove, maybe you're making stop motion or you just want different varieties of Kong, then by all means, you know, go for it. Get this figure. It's not an issue. I think this figure won't be too difficult to find because not a lot of people are gonna get it, let's be honest. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10 for what it is. It's a good quality Kong figure, but ultimately, in the end, it's not anything out of the ordinary. Tiamat and Mothra stand out because, you know, there's not a lot for them, so, you know, they stand out. That's why they get more excitement. We've seen Godzilla, we've seen Kong before, like, multiple times, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. But in this Kong's particular case, I don't expect much people to care about it. But if you do care about it, and you do want to pick it up, it is definitely a very high quality Kong figure. Remember, this is a child's toy, so you can't compare this to SH Monster Art or Hiya Toys. This is for children. That's their primary target audience. And I think you get a pretty good quality for that price you pay for. And it's definitely way better than the first GVK Battle Axe Kong. Having two different molds now, you can really see Playmates has really been stepping up their game. So of course, if you want to watch the review for Beast Glove Kong, and of course the review for the original Battle Axe Kong, click the links in the description, and the videos will also appear at the end of this video in the end screen. So I'm gonna call it here. Thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next review, whatever it may be.